I told my husband, I said, I feel something's not right.
At first, Braun's worried, could Crystal boyfriend Paul Hargrave.
What did he tell you? Was he cooperative?
He was cooperative and fairly forthcoming. We had problems getting some evidentiary audio. He claimed he had video, so obviously that became a red flag.
Either they could A, rule me out, or B, focus on someone else that may have had something to do with this.
On August 25th, 2017, Crystal McDowell vanished without a trace just hours before Hurricane Harvey tore through Texas. A simple text to her ex-husband, a routine plan to pick up her children, and then nothing. No calls, no answers, just silence. As the storm raged outside, her family began to unravel a mystery more chilling than anyone could have imagined. What happened to Crystal? Why did Stephen, her ex-husband, behave so strangely in the hours following her disappearance? What dark secret was he hiding? You won't believe the twists and turns this case takes. Don't miss the shocking details that would ultimately reveal the terrifying truth. Crystal's background of Crystal McDowell was born on October 26, 1979 in Baytown, Texas. Her early life was filled with hardship. Her parents, Pamela and Anthony, struggled with addiction and were unable to provide a stable home. Tragically, Crystal lost both of them to apparent overdoses when she was just 11 years old, leaving her to fend for herself. After their deaths, she moved in with her grandmother and later was raised by her uncle, Jeff Wellhorse. Despite the challenges she faced, Crystal's personality shone through. Known for her radiant smile and striking blue eyes, she was a kind and adventurous spirit who could light up any room. Driven by ambition, Crystal pursued a career as a flight attendant. The job was perfect for her, allowing her to travel across the country, meet new people, and experience different places. Along the way, she met Stephen Wayne McDowell, a man 7 years her senior who was gentle and soft-spoken, despite his imposing physical stature. After dating for some time, Crystal and Stephen married in April 2007. Though their relationship would face many challenges, Crystal's determination and optimism were always at the forefront of her life. Marriage struggles. Crystal and Stephen's marriage began with promise, but it quickly became strained. Stephen had a daughter from a previous relationship, and although he worked as a shipping manager, he struggled to maintain steady employment. This left Crystal as the primary provider, while Stephen remained professionally unstable. The imbalance created tension in their relationship. As Crystal thrived in her career, Stephen became increasingly jealous, especially when she traveled for work. He suspected her of having affairs, though there was no evidence to support these claims. Despite these doubts, Crystal always prioritized her family and worked hard to maintain a sense of stability, especially given her difficult upbringing. Their relationship, however, grew more toxic over the years. Crystal's frequent travel became a point of contention, with Stephen's jealousy creating emotional strain. Even though they appeared to have a harmonious home life from the outside, behind closed doors, their marriage was filled with instability and tension. Divorce intentions. By 2016, the stress in Crystal and Stephen's marriage reached its breaking point. Crystal made the life-changing decision to leave her career as a flight attendant and join her family's real estate business. This shift allowed her to spend more time with her children and provide a sense of permanence in her life. Her uncle Jeff, proud of her decision, welcomed her into the family business, where she quickly excelled. However, this change also served a strategic purpose for Crystal. She believed that being settled in a local business would help her secure custody of her children if she and Stephen were to divorce. By February 2017, she filed for divorce, citing years of emotional strain. In March, she even called 911, reporting that Stephen had threatened her and their children. Though authorities did not treat the situation as a criminal matter at the time, the emotional toll on Crystal was evident. Despite their differences, Crystal worked hard to maintain a civil relationship with Stephen, focusing on the well-being of their children. Yet the tension continued to rise. Stephen's emotional manipulation and jealousy became more pronounced, leading Crystal to take every precaution to avoid further conflict. The divorce, finalized in June 2017, appeared amicable on the surface, but the underlying tensions between them were far from resolved. Disappearance and investigation. On the morning of August 25, 2017, Hurricane Harvey was about to hit Texas, and Crystal McDowell's life would take a dramatic turn. She texted her ex-husband Stephen, asking if he had enough drinking water for their children before heading toward his house. Crystal had plans that day to show a property, but she never showed up. As the storm intensified, she disappeared without a trace. Her family, particularly her uncle Jeff, grew concerned when they couldn't reach her. When Crystal failed to respond to multiple calls, Jeff contacted Stephen, who sent the suspicious text from Crystal's phone claiming she planned to pick up the children and head to Dallas. However, this didn't sit right with Jeff, as Crystal never changed plans without informing him. By the afternoon, with no sign of Crystal, Jeff reported her missing to the police. As floodwaters from Hurricane Harvey engulfed Houston, Stephen claimed that Crystal hadn't been to his house for over a week, but this was contradicted by his daughter, who had seen Crystal the day before. When authorities checked Stephen's home, they found Crystal's black dress in the washing machine, along with her purse, signaling that she had been there recently. With the investigation stalled due to the storm's devastation, Jeff sought the help of the media, hoping to bring attention to Crystal's disappearance. His efforts, however, were overshadowed by the storm's constant coverage, and it seemed like no one was listening. Desperate for answers, he hired a private investigator, which only fueled tension with law enforcement. Despite the mounting evidence of Stephen's involvement, the investigation was slow to progress. The trial and aftermath. As the investigation into Crystal's disappearance continued, it wasn't until August 29th, when the floodwaters receded, that a breakthrough came. A family friend spotted Crystal's black Mercedes-Benz parked outside a rundown motel, a location that had been flagged during the search. The car doors were unlocked, and the keys were found in the console. Surveillance footage confirmed that Crystal's car had entered the motel lot on the morning of August 26, just hours after she was last seen. Even more disturbing, footage showed Stephen McDowell visiting the area later that day, checking to see if the car remained untouched. As the investigation gained momentum, Stephen's actions became increasingly suspicious. Authorities later discovered that Stephen had purchased a bicycle at a Walmart near the motel on the same morning, and surveillance footage showed a hooded figure matching Stephen's build riding the bike near the scene. Despite this damning evidence, Stephen continued to deny any involvement in Crystal's disappearance. It wasn't until September 9, 2017, that Stephen finally confessed to Crystal's murder. He admitted that during an argument, Crystal had told him she was taking her new boyfriend Paul on a family trip, which enraged him. In a fit of rage, Stephen strangled Crystal to death. He then disposed of her body in a remote area near his home. Although he confessed, Stephen refused to disclose the exact location of her body unless prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty. Authorities, fearing the body would be impossible to find, accepted the deal, and Stephen led them to the wooded area where Crystal's remains were found. Stephen was charged with first-degree murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison. Despite his conviction, Crystal's family was outraged at the leniency of the sentence. They believed Stephen deserved a harsher punishment, especially considering the emotional toll on Crystal's children. The trial revealed the depths of Stephen's emotional abuse and manipulation, as well as the tragic loss that Crystal's children would have to navigate for the rest of their lives. Crystal's lifelong friend, Mandy Avalos, took in the children and began the process of adopting them. Crystal's story, marked by love, manipulation, and loss, will leave a lasting impact on everyone who knew her. The investigation into Crystal's disappearance has finally come to a heart-wrenching conclusion, but the secrets don't stop there. Join us for our next video, where we dive into the chilling case of Katie McLean. What happened after a bizarre text from her husband led detectives to uncover a horrifying truth. It's a case you won't want to miss. Subscribe now to keep up with our latest investigations and be the first to uncover the shocking details in this unforgettable crime.